Previously on TVSins.
If this doesn't work, I might just have my stomach stapled and just be done with.
Keep looking shocked and move slowly towards the cake.
Starting your story at a crossroads cliche. There are always shots like this in zombie apocalypse movies of abandoned cars and people dead in them. But what did this woman die of? Did she run out of gas and decide to sit in place until she starved to death? Seriously, Rick had to get this f***ing close to see the sign that indicated no gas. If he's this nearsighted, should he really be in law enforcement? Since this is obviously a zombie child, why is she picking up this teddy bear like it's important to her? One of the show's biggest weaknesses is that it can't stick to any given set of rules for the dead, because it's more concerned with setting up a lame fake-out.
The same chick, mind you. She'll bitch about a global warming.
I realize the show is immediately setting up Policeman Punisher here to be an asshole, but here's Rick, laughing along and casually also misogyning. Are we really supposed to be rooting for him?
You are still too damn stupid to learn how to turn off a switch. Go with the polite version there, too.
Very wise.
Yes, sir.
This dialogue was written by an alien race that read a book written by a different alien race that was titled How Earth Dudes Interact.
You think I was the most closed-mouthed son of a bitch you ever heard, Tyler?
I really wish there were more closed mouths in this scene and a lot more Walking Dead.
Last thing she said this morning? Sometimes I wonder if you even care about us at all.
Dear God, we're now entering minute 4 of these two men complaining about the women in their lives. I'm starting to wonder if we were meant to end up on Team Walker. Did these two patrol vehicles completely switch lanes on a solid yellow at high speed to avoid roadkill? Safety first, officers. Safety first. Damn, didn't Rick and Shane give the pursuing officers a heads up about where the spikes were? They ran right into that shit. Well, those guys are dead. I guess we can call it a day then, eh guys? With at least 8 officers all shooting and missing this maniac this long, I think it's safe to say the King County Sheriff's Office trains at the Stormtrooper Academy of aiming at things. And this is why actual law enforcement officers secure a scene before engaging in off-the-cuff conversations about bulletproof vests and such. Kinda feels like Rick deserves what's coming here. Also, none of the other half-dozen cops with guns saw this guy either. Seriously, did they call in reinforcements from nearby Keystone, Georgia on this?
I'm right here, Rick. You stay with me.
Nice of Shane to try and help, but Rick was shot in the back, so shouldn't he be applying pressure at the source of the wound? Sure, we're all a little distracted right now, but he's definitely been trained in basic first aid. Cutting-edge show somehow uses an effect from a 1970s soap opera during a coma scene. I guess since they couldn't zombie too much in the first part of the pilot, they had to resort to nauseating the audience in other ways. I would give every sin back if the show would pull a De Palma split screen out of Cillian Murphy waking up in the UK. Why is this clock stopped at the exact same time, to the exact second, as the clock in Rick's hospital room? This would make sense if these clocks ran on electricity. But these are battery-operated models, and it would be almost impossible that the batteries would die at the same time. In fact, considering wall clock batteries can last up to a year, it's unlikely that both would have run out of batteries at all. Now's as good a time as any to try and figure out how this show wants us to believe this timeline went down. Obviously, it had to be a fairly quick thing, since Rick didn't die of dehydration, which is usually about a 2-week process. But the level of destruction in this place looks like it's been falling apart for months. Not to mention, if you had time to trap the dead in the cafeteria and spray paint "Don't Open" dead inside, wouldn't you also have time to move the patients out of the hospital to somewhere safe? All of which points to one of the biggest weaknesses in the show's logic, which is that somehow we couldn't contain an outbreak that relies not only on physical contact, but actually biting, and even then takes time to manifest. I mean, come on. We'd have that shit on lockdown within the first week. America! Yeah. Also, wouldn't it be nice if they did a spin-off someday about the start of this apocalypse to answer some of these questions? But instead of really fleshing out the origins, it just devolved into the same exact show as this one? Within the first few episodes? Nah, it would never happen. Also, couldn't you easily read this as "Don't Dead, Open Inside"? And wouldn't that lead you to think that to not die, you need to open the door to the inside? I don't know, man. I just think if this person was clever enough to lock the zombies in here and write a warning, they could have been much clearer. This hospital gown is supposed to be the other way, right? Did the orderly who put it on him have a contrarian streak, or was he or she just a huge crisscross fan? Okay, I promise this is the last time I'll ask, but how the hell does all this happen, including a giant hole in the side of the building, and Rick just sits in his room untouched? This is a world that feels at least a year into its apocalypse, not a few weeks. Whoa, did anyone remember there was a goddamn helicopter here? And, it doesn't even look damaged. Sure, Rick's gonna try and find his family first, but overall, this is immediately forgotten in this series. Priority 1, find family. Priority 2, find a goddamn helicopter pilot. You could fly to f***ing Hilton Head. The scooching dead? Also, damn, she's already ripped in half, dude. You also have to steal her bike?
Carl! Carl!
Coral.
Take a moment. Look how sharp it is. Try anything. I will kill you with it.
Instead of using the perfectly functional revolver that I just pointed at you a few minutes ago.
You shot him in the street out front, a man.
Friend, you need glasses. It was a walker.
A walker, eh? So is this some alternate universe where George Romero never existed? No zombie comics? No zombie movies? Nothing? Because there's no way, if this ever happened, that every single person wouldn't be calling these things zombies. And the fact that no one in this show actually does is pure lunacy.
Because he'd have ripped into you. Try to eat you, taking some flesh at least.
This conversation couldn't have waited until after dinner.
Bites kill you. The fever burns you out.
Good thing Rick met Basil Exposition, or he'd be a zombie snack by now. Once again, Mombi seems to be going against established rules to make a dramatic point. Every single one of these things should just be headed towards that car alarm. If you wanted them to haunt the places they used to live, you should have gone with ghosts instead. Man, taking a bat to a walker is brutal. But I guess that's the world they live in now. Can you imagine if it was the kind of show that would do this kind of thing to a living character? Like one we've grown to love and care about over several seasons?
My wife and son, they packed some clothes. Not a lot, but enough to travel.
You know, anybody could have broken in here and stolen clothes, right?
Morgan would be excellent at TVSins.
Center for Disease Control. Said they were working out how to solve this thing.
Man, I'm excited this show will be about finding a cure to this thing, since that would be much more interesting than spending about 75 episodes on a farm or a parade of progressively psychotic antagonists. If a show with this much potential did something like that, I can't imagine how many sins I'd have to give it. Maybe 20? I actually like this kid. Can we team him up with Grimes and just have them travel around the new world solving problems? Maybe call it Rick and Shorty?
A lot of it's gone missing.
Why hasn't all of it gone missing? Rick was the only cop in the town to think to grab some guns before heading out?
See any Dwayne?
Nope. Exactly how much louder is a gunshot than these full hammer swings? I mean, I know guns are louder, but shouldn't this still be a level of noise that they should be concerned about? Oh yeah, remember that desperate search for Rick's family? We're gonna pause that shit so he can track down and properly retire Half-Lady. Classic Rick. I do like how this show focuses on the personal struggle of the survivors and not just the dead, but I swear to God, if I hear one more person pompously remind me the show's title is actually about the remaining humans and not the zombies, I'm getting Lucille. In fact, here's an extra 30 sins for each time someone's brought it up.
If anybody reads, please respond.
Hello, is the person who called still in the air?
Driving miles from this town, and the one group that hears him includes not only people he's met, but his actual partner on the force, his wife, and his son. That's some next-level conveniencing right there, folks.
This is Officer Shane Walsh broadcasting to person unknown. Please respond. He's gone.
Holy Shane, I know patience isn't your strong suit, as evidenced by you immediately nailing your partner's wife, but the person is clearly there, and it's just some bad reception, man. They don't have time to put signs up warning people to stay out of the city, but they've got time for this? No one will be allowed to change channels during part 2 of the Rick Grimes holds a gas can and slowly walks down the street portion of the episode. Keys are in the ignition keys are under the sun visor. Guy somehow finds a horse to ride cliche?
Not gonna hurt you. Nothing like that. More like a proposal.
Jesus, Rick. I know it's been a few days without a woman around, but this really is a spectacular shot and all. But come on, not a single car is on the highway into town. I'm not suggesting anyone should be driving in that direction. I'm suggesting that in an extreme situation like this, at least one asshole says, screw the rules, I'm driving down the exit ramp and getting out of this nightmare. I'm also suggesting that I'm definitely that asshole. Hey, there's another helicopter that looks perfectly functional. If you've got gas for cars, why not fire that fucker up? God damn, the pilotless helicopters in this pilot really pissed me off. To be fair, these zombies totally had the right of way.
Lori, Carl, I'm sorry.
This scene turns so quickly due to Rick somehow not previously seeing the open hatch right in front of his face that I'm gonna sue Frank Darabont for whiplash. How is it even remotely possible to relax around any corpse at this point? Oh please, not to eat a dead horse here, but the zombies take naps now? Seriously? The loud creaky metal didn't wake him when Rick closed the hatch? The show obviously favors dramatic tension over world consistency, and we don't stand for that around here. Not by the hair of our TVSins.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
Ricky, the doctor told us that we should let you work it out in your own sweet time, but Ricky, you can walk.
Bring out your dead. La, 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 la.
Can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street?
And who the hell would you propose we send?
Send in the clouds.
Them doggies moving road. Don't try to understand them.
Antrim and Alep on 84.
And then what did you hear?
It sounded like a cocktail party.